Hello again, my dudes, dudettes, and non-binary friends. My name is Cassie, also known as the social activist educator. I'll finally get that right. This morning, this afternoon, tonight, wherever you are, we're going to talk about something that's actually really, really relevant to myself right now. So this is, oh my God, can I not, how many times, I've been watching Kenzie since, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I've been discovering her, I think it was at least 2 to 3 years ago. She is the most genuine, she really, really started my self-love journey. She was one of the first people I discovered. And she's so relatable, just so on point with so much stuff. And she's done so much work to get to the point she is. I cannot praise her enough. She's amazing. So, hang on, we've got this stupid screen. Oh no, it's all good. Sorry. Oh my God, this post so on point. If you read my article in my blog about the jawbreaker theory, it's to get to this level of insight, amazing. And not many people that I've seen through my career of social work are even close. They're on the basic starter level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is safety, security, food, water, that kind of thing. A lot of people never really reach self-actualization. And I think me and Kenzie, I think we're very close in age, and we're very close to understanding where we are right now. Life is constant learning. You never stop learning, and you never stop learning about yourself. So the reason I chose this one is because it's so bloody relevant to me right now, because of what has happened the last year that's gone past. Being in Melbourne and having the 100 and something day lockdown, it was pure, I can't even explain in words how intense this lockdown has been and how intense the recovery is going to be. If you want to read my whole story, it's in my blog, it's all over my Instagram, all that kind of stuff, and I'll link it below. So let's just start the discussion on the actual image, and then we'll have a look at Kenzie's deeper reflection on the right about her caption. So the quote goes, "Beware of destination addiction. The idea that happiness is in the next place, the next job, or even with the next partner. Until you give up the idea that happiness is somewhere else, it will never be where you are." So I guess in somewhere else and where you are, is that can be several things. It would be clear that it is an internal happiness. Happiness comes internally. You can't get happiness from your external environment. And I think in my first video, I talked about the external environment and how we're all a product of our external environment. There is, again, with the jawbreaker theory, there is a certain level of DNA and nature, genetic level of programming in your, when you're, a couple of cells, right up until birth, right up until a full-fledged adult. But again, with the jawbreaker theory, it starts with a single grain of sugar, and all your experiences grow and grow and grow and grow, until you reach the age you are now. And then when you want to start working to unpack all the trauma or things like that have happened to you. Let's just to define the idea of happiness. It always comes from within. You cannot You cannot get happy. Look, things in your environment externally, yes, they can provide happiness. But the thing is, to continue that happiness and continue to enjoy that external environment, you have to keep doing the work within yourself. So, so we'll break down the caption now. Kenzie says, who else has destination addiction and in the moment journey avoidance? So again, we're not talking about destination as in a place, a country. I spoke about this a lot in my first video, the reaction to Abby Sharp and Obese to Beast. When we're talking about destination addiction, like there's a lot of things to unpack there to get to destination addiction and in the moment journey awareness. Now, I believe from my perspective, what Kenzie's talking about in journey is the journey of self, like she refers to a lot of self-love stuff. 100% agree. So in the journey moment, journey avoidance, we're talking about the journey of your life and how to reach self-actualization, which is a theory that's based in from one of the fathers of psychology called Maslow. Again, I might just look up while we're discussing this, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So Maslow's hierarchy comes right up, and yes, I'm dyslexic, so work with me. So let's have this one kind of explains it. I don't think I can move this. Can we blow it up like full screen, my friend? Oh, no. Oh my god, this is so frustrating. Yeah, okay. So you can kind of see what's going on, kind of. Maybe I can move the, oh, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. So we can see Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is a very one of the forefathers of psychology and social work theory. So your basic needs are physiological, so food, water, warmth, rest, for your actual body to function, because your body needs certain things to survive. Without, if you take away the mind and elements of the mind, your body needs certain things to function. And the second level, again, basic needs, is security and safety. Again, I don't know. I mean, it is physiological, safety and security, so a safe home, a stable home, that kind of thing. But safety is always also a what do you call it, like a concept of the mind, and there's a lot of anxieties that stems from safety, and safety, the mind, the theory about safety in the mind and why it causes an anxiety is because you've had certain trigger points in your life, and certain traumas or bad things that have happened to your life that have kind of chipped away at the safety within your mind. So if everything, say, for an autistic person, a person with OCD, a person with generalized anxiety, they need their environment a certain way. And if they don't have things a certain way, or some people need really, really strict routines, and if that's messed up, that's sometimes where panic attacks and anxiety attacks occur pretty quickly. So we move on to, again, safety is, I wonder if it's not mentioned again. Again, safety is psychological and physiological. So physiological, again, is your body. Psychological is the mind. Just to put it like really simply, belongingness and love. So intimate relationships and friends, we all kind of thrive on intimate relationships and friends. Again, I kind of go through this in my jawbreaker theory. So about like finding love and needs and having those met. But this is intimate relationships and friends is a lot. It works a lot with external validation. And the reason why I focus so much on validation is because if you actually go back and watch Brene Brown's TED Talk on shame, that's kind of where I draw my initial theories, but I push it out a little bit further and talk about validation. It's one of my favorite areas of study and topics. So external validation is your external environment. So validation refers to how you feel about yourself and whether you're right or wrong. So external validation comes from a need for people to tell you you're right, you're beautiful, you're the best, you're everything. And the road to self-actualization, or getting to that single grain of sugar, is a way of like not needing external validation anymore, because you know you're right, you know you're a good person, you know you're solid within yourself before you need that external validation. Okay, so esteem needs prestige and feeling of accomplishment. I guess this kind of comes back to the, again, like validation, feeling like you've done something with your life, feeling like you mean something, feeling like you've accomplished something. And accomplishment doesn't always have to come back to education, employment, like really capitalist things like that. Like prestige and feeling, this one's a little bit complex, because I don't know if I necessarily agree that you have to accomplish something amazing in your life. I mean, I really don't know how to say this word. The validity of your life does not depend on your external environment. It comes from deep within. It comes from within yourself. So when we're talking about esteem needs, like if you are like happy within yourself, that's an accomplishment. I mean, Kenzie talks a lot about if you can't get out of bed because you're having a really bad depressive day, just, you know, like brush your hair or have a piece of gum or like watch a YouTube video, like at least wake up and, you know, acknowledge that the day is there. Yeah, so I think we've moved a bit further than Maslow's theory of this esteem, because I don't really agree with the words of prestige and accomplishment, because they're so ingrained in our external environment and having external validation, where we don't need, we need to have internal validation first and foremost. So then we get to the top, the self-actualization, which is when you get to the single grain of sugar in the middle of the door breaker. And again, this is when you achieve internal validation without the need for external prompts or praise or anything like that. So it's achieving one's full potential. I suppose back when Maslow studied this, like achieving one's full potential kind of meant being a CEO, being like the leader of whatever, like being the best of the best. And again, we have to take into consideration with Maslow, he was a cis white boomer generation male. So again, this is kind of set up for review of like your typical male progression of life. And again, it is based in capitalism, it's based in white supremacy, that kind of ideal. And the thing is, like, if you read my my blog post on what's it called, internalized capitalism and how it causes male suicide, you can see how this is actually still really hardly pushed in males, and females with the body positive community have moved a little bit further. And again, we are so early in learning internal validation. It's such a new concept. So all right, we'll go back to Kenzie's post here, and we'll just break this down a little bit more. I mean, she's pretty much on the ball. So she's pretty much covered what I just talked about the goal-driven society, so focused on what we can achieve and accumulate, and it can only be gifted to us when we are in the journey, in the middle of seeking. I think I most like people when I say I do this a lot. Once I get X, I'll be happy. Once I do X, once I beat X. So I'm just going to move down. Then these moments come, and for the second we may be euphoric, and then the moment leaves, and we are left there asking, who are we now? Yeah, that is a huge thing. And the funny thing is about that, who are we now? Internalized capitalism doesn't value our internal validation. It values our external validation. So who you are is what you do, which is, we've moved beyond, well and truly beyond that. Also, happiness doesn't correlate to meanings. Lots of people may feel generally happy, but not feel a ton of meaning or purpose in their lives. And lots of people who feel they have purpose may not feel so happy. Anyone else feel? Yeah. From a social work perspective, yes. But this, I mean, white supremacist and white culture. I mean, I am speaking from a androgynous female, bisexual, English Anglo background as around about a 30-year-old. So that's the context behind what my knowledge is. So again, I really want to get a guest who lives in more of a secular or community culture, much like the Indigenous or African communities. It's always about community, and mate, they've got it so far right. They've got it right. We've got it wrong. But that's my own opinion. So, I mean, in white society, coming from like a country English background, like very capitalist, very internalized, your worth as a woman, being brought up in that society comes back to for say like your progression of life and what it means to be a good woman was kind of like, it is changing, which is thank goodness, but what it meant was like you brought up, you go to school to a certain point, yes, you're expected to do education these days, but if we're talking like my generation, yes, you're expected to get some sort of degree. And again, you're probably meant to go into a field of work like childcare, nursing, midwifery, psychology, debatable, social work, definitely. And then once you've reached, hopefully that education level, by the end of your 20s, you should have an established career. There are so many different elements in this, so this is a very quick summary of my own experience. And then by the time you've got an established, back to my story, once you have an established career, then you need, and while you're doing all that, you need to find a cisgendered male to procreate children. So that's a step. So the next, that's a step further. So the next step in life is actually again, this is my context, you're expected to get married, settle down, whatever that means. So you're meant to be like, have the proposal, get married, blah, 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 and then move in together. And the expectations put on me was to buy my own property, move into it with my significant other, and then procreate children. And once you procreate children, you raise them, you be a stay-at-home mom, you cook, you clean, that kind of thing. And, you know, dad in that sense does all the outdoor. I mean, that's the ideal, whatever it's called, generic couple, 2.5 kids, happy family. But yeah, it's the progression that we don't have to do that anymore is just amazing. Because there's so, like, I'll make several videos after this about what actually is happening now and how capitalism actually works against females, women, women's, you know, typical job roles and things like that. So, you know, I mean, I know that was a long rant, but I guess I just want to end off with who are we now? Like, why do we need to answer that question, first of all? Can we just accept that we're like ever evolving beings and a result of our internal and external environment and validations that we're giving ourselves? Again, happiness doesn't correlate to meanings. Again, I mean, there's goals and then there's purpose. I mean, I remember after, you know, being in hospital, and things like that, I lost all purpose in life. I'm like, what the hell? Like, where do I go from here? Like, what am I doing? Why am I alive? Because I know I'm, like, obviously alive for a reason. And this is a very complex topic to have for another day. But purpose, I mean, you can always be working towards a goal, but the thing is, with internal validation, you need to be content with who you are right now in this moment. Because, oh my God, my favorite quote, and the quote that I live by, is live every moment like it's your last, because one day you're going to be right. And that quote is by the amazing Ray Charles. Oh, amazing quote, but it's so true. Like, literally, you could pass away tomorrow, and if you're not living today and you go, like, you pass away and you're like, oh my God, my last day was absolutely miserable, like absolutely and utterly miserable, and my life, like, I never followed my dreams. And that is it's like, why do we have to live in a capitalist society where money is more important than happiness, dreams, and self-validation, fulfillment, that kind of thing? Like, money is not worth that. And yes, we have to, unfortunately, the way we live, because, you know, equality, we're nowhere near yet. We have to have work to be able to do the things we want. And some people, unfortunately, in lower socioeconomic backgrounds, don't get to, you know, be privileged to what it feels to have money, and they've just literally got to survive. But again, from my own experience, anecdotally, I am the happiest I've ever been on the poorest wage I've ever had. I think I explained, was it this video? Or I think I did one for Megan's Body Positive Pandas video about what it means to be in the higher level of income earning, because the more income you have, the more luxurious you live, the more debt you're happy to accumulate. Whereas when you're in the lower socioeconomic, look, this isn't like facts. This is subjective. That, you know, they do say the people in the happiest range are people that are like just above minimum wage, because they appreciate the little things. I mean, you can have the happiest person in the world and they've never traveled. They've never left their house, but because they're so content with themselves, and because they do so much internal work and so much therapy and learning how to achieve self-validation, internal validation, they get the, you know, the privilege of achieving inner peace. So, on reflection of this post, be aware of destination addiction, 100%. Look, the goals, purpose, all that kind of thing, I kind of think put it in the bin, because nothing should get to dictate your life. You get to dictate your life, and the thing that you should aim for is to be content. I mean, you can have bad days, you can have good days, but if you're content and happy with who you are and you love yourself and you know you deserve good things, I think that is the end goal. So yeah, like I wanted to pick up Kenzie's post because, like, I don't know if she'll ever see it, but oh my God, like, she's right on the ball. She's right on the ball, and I just, I want to give her feedback and props for everything she does. For getting to this point of, internal validation. So thanks for listening, guys. If you want to see more, leave me a comment, thumbs up, like, or subscribe, please. I don't need it because I do this for myself. But yeah, look, the one thing maybe I will ask is some feedback on this content and how I can do it better. Or if I'm totally missing the mark. So yeah, again, thank you for watching, and I'll try to keep my videos a little bit shorter. All right, thanks. Bye, guys.